Changing your Fortnite settings can get very annoying, so today I'm going to give you a secret config file that does everything for you. Yes, you can download this for free, put it into a folder, and it will just give you all of my settings. Now, these are, of course, the most optimized. They'll give you the best performance in Fortnite. And if they go ahead to help your performance like they did for everyone on the screen right here, drop a like and subscribe. All right, getting straight into this. First of all, I'm going to show you the settings that I have loaded up here. Then I'm going to show you how to load these settings in pretty much a few clicks, and also some things that you may need to change. So make sure to watch this full video. So scrolling through, we've got full screen. This is the best for lowest input delay, resolution 1920 by 1080. Bear in mind, you can always come back and change these things. So if you do want to customize anything, you can load my settings as the base, you know, a better default, and then work from that. VSync off, frame rate limit, iCap on 360. But I'm going to change the config file to 165, which is the best for 144 Hz, and most of you will be on that. Rendering mode, of course, we're on performance mode. If you guys want the most optimized DirectX 11 game config, I'll release that in my Discord server, as well as an optimized DirectX 12 config. All of this, none of this will load with the settings, so don't worry about you know, keybinds or brightness or anything like this. You'll only take on these display settings, the graphics quality settings, which I have pretty much all on low, and also my sound settings, so the sound quality and the visualized sound effects. And of course, that doesn't include these are all personal preference, and they won't load, and they're not going to affect anything for you. Now you kind of understand some of the settings you'll be getting. To get this config, there's two things you can do. You can either join my Discord server. You don't need to stay, you can leave afterwards, but you can join there and download it in the announcements channel. So yeah, right here, join the server, go to announcements, and you can just download here. Or what you can do is just edit your own config per this video. So regardless of your option, you want to go to your Epic Games launcher, go to library, the three dots right here, go to options, and make sure you have these selected. High resolution textures, definitely have that one off, and make sure pre-download stream assets is turned on. That's very important. Fortnite Save the World, this one doesn't really matter. But obviously, if you don't use it, yeah, you may as well get it off. It takes up 11 gigabytes, which is just not worth it. Once you've done that, you want to hit your Windows key, type in run. In this little box down here, you want to type %local app data %. Once you're in here, you want to press F on your keyboard, or just scroll down and find Fortnite game, saved, config, Windows client, and then you'll find game user setting. Now, if you have downloaded mine and just want to put this in here, all you have to do is open up where you downloaded the config, and you will literally have this already. So let's pretend I've got it here. You'll leave a right click, copy, and then paste it here, or you'll just drag and drop, and it will ask you if you want to replace the file and destination. Just click this. And in your case, it is really that simple. You can now relaunch your game, but again, I advise that you follow this video because there will be some things you want to change in here. So now right click your game user settings folder, go to properties. In the general tab, make underneath attributes, make sure read only is unticked. Press apply, press OK. Now we can edit this. So double click it. It's going to open in a notepad like this. First thing you want to do is you want to scroll down, motion blur, change this to false. So if it says true, just change that to false. Also, what you can do is if you press Control F, you can actually search for things. So again, if I put show grass, it will highlight it, and I can use this to find pretty much everything without having to, you know, read through it. It's quite a lot. But yeah, show grass on false. Show FPS for a slight increase in FPS, have this on false. Use GPU crash debugging, have this on false. Copy all these settings here. So stop rendering background false, latency tick 1 false, latency tick 2 set that to 2, latency flash false, for anti-aliasing mode disabled, enable DLSS frame generation false, temporal super resolution quality recommended, DLSS quality 0, XeSS quality 2, use nanite, have that on false. Go down right here, ray tracing false. These are the two energy modes that are in Fortnite: energy saving enabled idle and energy saving enabled focus loss. Put them both on false. Energy saving level focus loss equals 1. Scrolling down a little bit, disable mouse acceleration, have that on false. Apparently this is placebo, but it's just not worth it. Disable mouse acceleration, have that set on false. People do say this is placebo, but placebo scientifically works, you know, psychologically, I guess. But one thing you do need to check is if you click your Windows key, type in a mouse, go to mouse settings, scroll down, additional pointer mouse settings, go to pointer options, and make sure enhanced pointer position is unticked. Press apply and press OK. This is basically going to do that for you. And this Windows setting should override this even if it says true, but just to be safe, I always set it to false. Scrolling all the way down, use VSync, obviously false. Resolution size X and Y, in my case 1920 by 1080, but you can lower this afterwards. I guess just set it to this for now. Audio quality level, have that on 1. Last confirmed audio quality level on 1. Frame rate limit, so this is something you may want to change, but we can do that in game. It's nothing to worry about here. And the most important of all is going to be the scalability groups. All of these, have them on 0. Even if you initially set your whole in-game settings to lowest, or near, whatever it may be, just generally the lowest setting, some of them in here could still be set to like 1 or 2. So yeah, make sure all of these are set to 0 besides resolution quality. Set that to even 99 at the highest, or if you're really struggling for frames, set it to like 75 at the lowest. But you can go, you know, in between that. You can go to 80, you can try 90. But yeah, that one difference between 99 and 100 actually does have an effect. Shout out to the boy Corby who figured this one out. It sounds crazy, but trust me. And everything else doesn't really matter. These are like my chat settings, and some of them, yeah, I guess are notifications that may pop up and could take, you know, GPU resources. Some of your your game has to render. But I wouldn't worry about them too much. They don't really, affect FPS too crazy. And also this right here, I'd copy this. I'm not too sure what it is. It's something to do with your DirectX version, so your rendering mode. But here, the ES31 refers to performance mode. So as long as you already set that and you copy these launch options I've shown you, then you should actually be good. But I guess to be safe, copy these. And this also is actually testament and proof to the fact that your DirectX 11 settings do directly affect your performance mode settings. Now, this game config does cover the majority of that because we've went over some things that do not show in performance mode. For example, these latency tweaks and things like DLSS frame generation, temporal super resolution quality, XeSS quality. These do not show in performance mode and we can still configure them. Although I do believe there are still some settings that we couldn't mess with. So yeah, I always do suggest that you start on DX11, optimize that using this video right here, which I made a full DirectX 11 optimization video. And that's just going over like videos and graphics quality settings. And then you sort out your performance mode settings. So yeah, maybe go do that, come back here and copy this. But yeah, that is pretty much everything. Now you want to load your Fortnite again. And now your game is loaded, go to your settings and just double check things as I mentioned earlier. So if you want my settings, copy these directly and then you may have to change your frame rate limit. So per my config, which I'm going to put in the Discord, it should be 165. If you run 60 Hz, maybe set this to 120 or 60 with VSync if you have a really terrible PC. I've made a full video again talking about VSyncs and how that works. So you may want to watch that in this case. Oh, and if you're like me and you're on 240 Hz, set it to 360. The general rule of thumb is just to never go unlimited unless you're on creative mode and you're like free building, because then you can get lower input delay in that case, because higher frames equals lower input delay, but only if those frames are stable. And that refers to our 1% and 0.1% lows, which inevitably are going to be like half or even less than half of our actual, average performance FPS that we see in game. When, we're playing OG or, arena, whatever it is, when you're in an actual game and not creative mode, especially end game, you're going to run into issues if you're using unlimited. So that's why it's recommended to go one notch above your refresh rate. That only assumes that your PC specs generally are up to date. So what is inside your PC matches your other, hardware, because it really doesn't make sense that you'd be on 144 Hz, but running, 30 or 60 FPS on average. And I think that is pretty much everything. If you play competitive and you have it and your PC isn't too bad, you may want to put this back to high because it does make you hear footsteps better. If you have a really terrible PC on the flip side, visualize sound effects, you can turn that one off. Going into game settings, I think there's some stuff in here that you want to double check because there's a chance that Fortnite is trying to override it and force you to use them. So peripheral lighting, turn it off. NVIDIA highlights, ideally turn that one off if you don't use it, but you shouldn't be using it. It's the worst way to capture highlights. All these replays, make sure they are off and just double check these power saving modes. We did this in the game config, but after updates, sometimes Fortnite will force them, and exchanging your config file is almost like verifying the game. And again, of course, all this other stuff right here, your keybinds, your sensitivities, these are stored on the cloud. So this config is not going to affect them. Don't worry.